you know, lay down and get back up. And then we will get going.
Now, Jenna, if we press got it, we still get the for the recorded. It doesn't erase it for us, no?
No, it's just like you're consenting that so that you know. Zoom just has that in there so that you know that it's being recorded, but you're not being recorded, just I'm being recorded, and it's just getting uploaded into the library. So like no one sees you. It just sees me, but Zoom just has that setting. Just so that I think it's probably for people in like meetings and stuff. All right, cool. So when you're all set, you can make your way on down, start to get comfortable. Feel free to stretch, wiggle, move in any way that you need to start to transition into your time on your mat this morning, right? If you want to roll around a bit or move the head from side to side, full body stretch. Okay, and then when we settle in, we're gonna go with hands on the lower ribs, and we're gonna warm up with some of this core breathing that we've been practicing. So we're gonna start kind of low level and then build in our intensity. You can always come back to the lower level one if it starts to feel like too much, okay? And before we start, I just actually do want everyone to rock their head from side to side a few times and relax any tension in the neck and the jaw. Maybe open and close the mouth a few times because we don't want the neck to be taken over because we're trying to kind of really get into our core and our diaphragm, all right? So then when you're good with that, we're gonna breathe in through the nose, feet are flat on the ground, exhale through the mouth. See if you can take a long exhale. So the idea is to take a long time, get all your air out, like you're squeezing out the tube of toothpaste, okay? And then if you're able, hold a little bit of tension in your belly and inhale around it. And then exhale, get all your air out. So if you don't feel like you're able to maintain tension in the belly, then that's okay. You can let it kind of relax and expand, but we're working towards not letting the belly expand too much and sending the breath into the rib cage and into the chest and into the back, okay? Now, once you've gotten a few of these breaths completed, on your next exhale, you'll hover your left foot an inch off your mat. Okay, right foot is still on the ground, left foot is hovering. Okay, you're gonna breathe in. Exhale, extend your left leg straight ahead, maintaining your tension. Okay, inhale with the leg out, extended in front of you. Exhale, bend the knee, bring the foot back in, but that left foot is staying off the ground. Inhale where you are. Exhale, extend the leg forward. Okay, so we're always pausing on a breath in and then moving the leg on a breath out. So we'll do one more like that. Exhaling, extending, pausing with the leg out in front for the inhale. Exhale, bring the left foot in and down and lift the right foot up. Okay, so now the left foot's connected to the mat, the right foot is an inch off the ground. You exhale, extend the leg, try to stay nice and solid and connected in your belly muscles. Exhale, bring the leg back in. Inhale as it hovers. Exhale as it reaches away. Good. Notice the back of your pelvis on the ground, the back of your rib cage. Okay, everything is fixated. For your low back, okay, we're not smashing it into the ground. We don't have a ginormous arch either. Okay, kind of that happy medium. Everyone's a little different. And then you can bring your right foot back down. So from here, on your next exhale, you're gonna hover both feet an inch off the ground. If that's too much, just bring your feet up a little higher. Okay? But we're working towards keeping them as low to the ground as we can while maintaining some tension in the belly. Okay, now, okay, your legs might be more up here, they might be here, they might be an inch off the ground, doesn't matter. You're gonna exhale, extend the left leg forward. Good. Inhale, hold it out there. Exhale, bring it in, and we'll alternate. Exhale, right leg extends now. Inhale, hold it out. Exhale, bring it in. Okay, so see if you can move at your own pace, right? Like everyone's breathing is a little bit different, but you're always extending the leg or bringing the leg in on your exhale and holding for the inhale on either side. Okay, and now we're alternating. If it's too intense, pick your legs up higher. If you want more tension in the belly, if you want to feel your abs even more, lower the feet closer to the ground. Good. We'll do one more. Awesome job. And then bring your feet nice and wide, like mat width apart. Open the arms up, palms face towards the ceiling, and then gently windshield wiper the knees from side to side. Knees go left, head looks right. Knees go right, head looks left. And intentionally invite the belly to soften a bit. So just let all that tension go. Awesome. And then we're going to take our yoga block. We're going to go the middle wide way in between the inner thighs, a little bit closer to the knee though, and the knees park over the hips. The arms are coming out to a T with palms up. Okay. From here, you're going to let your legs start to drop all the way over to the left, but I want you to keep your right shoulder blade as down as long as you can. So you get a really nice lengthening kind of stretch through the right side of the body. Once the legs arrive close to the ground or on the ground, you'll pick the right arm up and now reach your right arm way past your left arm. So you're looking for a stretch behind the right shoulder blade. Reach, 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 and then windmill the arm open. Open up as much as you can, and then the legs are gonna lift and follow. You can roll now all the way to the right, but wait again as long as possible to lift that left arm. It will come around. You'll reach the left arm past the right arm, emphasize on the reach, and then open up. So waiting for the legs, but then eventually they'll follow and they'll go all the way to the left. So you can definitely move through this at your own pace, but just take it kind of slow so that you don't miss any of the pieces, right? So you emphasize the reach, and then you're waiting to pick the legs up, waiting to bring the hand over to the other side. And we'll do like one more on each side. Awesome. And then we'll come through center. You can bring your feet down. We're going to keep the yoga block and just start to transition into some bridges here. So super simple. You can just start to lift your hips up and down. We are hugging that yoga block. Okay. So we're hugging the block, not crushing it. You don't have to squeeze it at 100%, but definitely hugging in. And then also think about dragging your heels towards your butt at the top of your bridge. Okay, so hips up. You can feel free to go into like full hip extension, whatever you're feeling, but then drag those heels back towards the butt a bit. You can kind of just maintain that action the whole time, even as the hips are moving down. Yeah, and the arms are just chilling wherever. You can be on your elbows, you can have your hands on your ribs, have the arms out by your sides. Good. And then we'll do this with the hips down real quick so you can kind of get a sense for it, but then we're going to do it with the hips up. So what I want you to do is just bring the hips to the ground, hug your block, and extend your left leg straight ahead. So even this, you're going to really feel your core, and then bring the left foot down, and then extend your right leg straight ahead. So you might stay here and just work on dragging your heels back towards your butt to get a little hamstring, and then extending one leg, hugging the block, and extending the other leg. So if you really keep your pelvis square and level, you will definitely feel like some nice core activation. If you want more of a challenge, you're going to lift your hips up, but not full hip extension. So just a smidgen, like just my pelvis is lifted. Basically, my entire spine is still on the ground. And I would recommend using your elbows on the ground for a little bit of help. One hand is on each hip, and you're going to work on extending a leg forward, bringing it in, and then extending the other leg forward. So it's definitely significantly more challenging to do this with the hips up, okay? But play around with it, see how it goes. You can always go back to bringing the hips down. Maybe you just do a couple. Notice if your pelvis is kind of moving all around the world. See if you can keep it pretty stationary. Good. Yep, the hips are only an inch up. Nice job. We'll do one more on each side. Awesome. And then we'll bring the hips down, lose the yoga block, take the knees nice and wide, pull them apart, and then we'll start to draw our hip circles here. So kind of massaging the low back sacrum area, lubricating the hip joint, and you can just move the knees. Like one's going clockwise, one's going counterclockwise. Yeah, go in both directions. Awesome. And then I just want to do one more thing here on our back. We've gotten core really warmed up, inner thighs, a little bit of glute and hamstring, but now we'll do a little bit more calf, glute, hamstring, all working together. So what we'll do, bring your right knee in towards your chest, okay? And then just tap your left foot on the ground a few times, just a little bit of sensory awareness, kind of wake up the bottom of the foot a little bit. Yeah. And then solidify your connection between your foot and the ground. And again, we're gonna lift our hips, but not very high. So credit card distance, like very small amount. Tuck your pelvis as well here, okay? And then you're gonna put your awareness into your big toe mound and you're gonna lift and lower your left heel off the ground, okay? Again, your hips don't need to be very high. You can have your arms up or down. Up will be a little more challenging, but it's up to you. And these first few, you're going in your big toe mound. So I said, bring your awareness there. And then keep going, but go into your pinky toe mound. Keep the pelvis tucked under. So when I say pinky toe mound, I just mean when you lift and lower your heel, now your pressure is in the outer edge of your foot. It doesn't mean your big toe lifted or anything. It just means you're putting more pressure in the outer edge of the foot. So different fibers. Nice job. And then we'll bring hips down. Do something as a little bit of a reset before the other side. You might want to kick your heels on your hamstring attachment or windshield wiper, whatever you like. Great. And then we got the other side. So left knee comes in, tap the right foot a few times, kind of wake up the bottom of the foot, and then solidify that connection. You're going to lift your pelvis just a bit, tuck under, and you're starting by lifting and lowering this right heel, but your pressure is in the big toe mound right now. And that's just kind of where the awareness is for the first half of the calf raises. Awesome. And then go ahead, you can put it in the pinky toe mound for the second half if you haven't already. Just lifting that heel up and down. Awesome job. And then hips will come down, either kick the heels or gently rock the low back. Nice reset, and we'll roll over. We're gonna make our way from here into table today. So feel free to get your knee padding, your yoga blocks can be set up in front of you at the top of the mat, but we're gonna start just on flat palms, hands under shoulders, knees under hips. And I want you to spread through your palms, right? So spread them out so that you could put pressure into all 10 knuckles and not favor one more than the other so much. And then sits bones are sticking up towards ceiling a bit, so we're not rounded in the low back. You're gonna rock your hips straight back without tucking under, and then rock forward. Let your shoulders sort of pass your fingertips without bending your elbows, okay? So hips are straight back, and then we're rocking forward, loading the wrists and the hands, putting pressure through all the knuckles, but not bending the elbows. And see if you can just kind of play with that a few times. Straight back, straight ahead. Good. Awesome. From here, you're gonna take your yoga block and put it underneath your left hand, okay? So right now, you have left hand on yoga block, right hand on the ground. You're gonna keep both elbows straight. you're gonna drive through your left hand, but don't bend the elbow, and lift your right hand higher than the yoga block. And then tap the hand down. So when you're doing this, try to connect to your belly muscles, and you know, you're gonna start to feel your left shoulder for sure, but I also want you to stay connected to your core, okay? So the hand goes higher than the block and then it comes down, right? I'm not bending my left elbow at all. I'm just pulling my rib cage up towards the ceiling, right? Finding that connection and then tapping my right hand down. Good. And then from here, you're gonna bring your right hand down. So we're in an asymmetrical position, left hand on block, right hand on ground. Toes are tucking. We're gonna lift the knees and inch off the ground. Yep, and you're gonna reach your hips up and back, just nice and high. You can keep your knees soft, just up and back, and then rock forward, hover the knees. Hips up and back, rock forward, hover the knees. See if you can do 3 more. Inhale, reach those hips away from the hands, and then rock forward. Good. We'll do 1 more. And then both knees are coming down. Take that yoga block that was under your left hand, slide it back, stick it underneath your left knee. Stick it underneath your left knee. Okay. Now both hands are under shoulders. You're going to pick your right knee up off the ground. So now both feet are on the ground and both sets of toes are tucked under. You're gonna have your right knee in line with your left knee, okay? Right knee in line with left knee. Now, you're just gonna drop your right knee towards your mat and then drive through your left knee and hike your right hip. So it's actually a very similar action to what we were just doing in the upper body, except now we're doing it in the pelvis. So your right knee moves towards the ground. It doesn't touch, it doesn't need to, but then you drive through your left knee to hike the right hip. So the right hip is hiking and the right hip is dropping. Both feet are on the ground. And then the right knee is just hiking up and dropping down. Good. Okay, from here, we're gonna step our right foot forward in between our hands. And we'll take our other yoga block with us and we'll come on up to a 90-90 lunge. Nice. So we'll go ahead and go with bear hug of the yoga block. Just make sure your feet are on train tracks and not a tight rope. You're gonna tuck your pelvis and kind of lift your sternum just a little bit, not arching, but don't be too rounded, okay? And then from there, you're gonna drive your knee forward and lean over your front leg. Yep, and then just pull back. And now we will do a mini front body opener, mini back bend just up towards the ceiling. This doesn't need to be a big movement in either direction. Just a gentle rocking forward and then a baby kind of lifting up towards the ceiling. We're not going for like a huge stretch here when we lift up, just a little bit. Good. Do 1 more. And then you're gonna rock forward and pause. So your right knee goes straight ahead, your body's leaning over your right leg, and then you're just going to rotate your rib cage to the right and to the left. Not a big movement either, okay? And it's in the hinge, so we're not upright rotating, we're leaning forward and rotating. So the other day we did a side bend in this position, today we'll do a rotation. Awesome job. And then we'll come on up, okay? You can bring this knee down, lose the yoga block, bring your hands back, bring the right knee down, slide that yoga block forward. You can move it out of your way. We're spreading through the palms, toes are tucking. We're gonna head up and back towards a downward facing dog. You can bend into one knee and then the other, pedal the feet. And then we're walking feet towards hands at the top of the mat. Feet towards hands at the top of the mat. Soft knees. And then you can grab opposite elbow or just have ragdoll arms and we'll sway the body around the right leg and around the left leg from side to side. When you go around the right leg, shift your body weight into the right foot. And then when you go around the left leg, shift your body weight into your left foot. You can feel free to linger into any areas that need a little bit of an extra stretch or a little bit of extra attention. And then as you're grounding down through your feet, you're gonna roll your spine up nice and slow and arrive all the way on up and standing. Awesome. So then once you arrive, just do a couple of weight shifts, right? Left foot and then right foot, or maybe swirl it out, kind of orient to standing up here. Awesome. And then we're gonna have your feet about hips width apart, hips width-ish. We'll soften the knees a bit, okay? You're gonna take the hands on the front of the ribs for just a second. Exhale, pull those ribs back. So it's just, instead of them being super flared and open, the rib cage pulls back, okay? Now, we're working on doing our best to maintain that as we reach our arms up. Good. From there, you're gonna side bend to your right. Keep reaching, reaching, reaching to the right with that left arm as you shift your hips to the left. Try to create lots of length through the left side of the body, and then pull yourself up, reach up towards the ceiling. Now go ahead, side bend to the left. Keep reaching to the left with that right arm and shifting your hips to the right. And then pull yourself up. So bend the elbows, take the hands behind the head, soften the knees, open, open, open the elbows, and you're shifting into the balls of the feet. You're gonna try to lift your heart up towards the ceiling. You can relax your neck, relax your head into your hands like you're hanging out in the hammock. And then imagine your shoulder blades were spreading apart east to west. So instead of hugging or crunching your shoulder blades together, see if you can spread them apart and broaden your upper back. Yeah. And then we'll come forward. We're gonna reach up. Okay, we're gonna reach up, good. And then we're gonna lift our heels a little bit. Lift our heels a little bit. And then you're gonna drop your heels and sink your butt down into a squat quick. Good. So you come up, heels up, and then drop the heels and sink down. If you need to take your feet wider for this, go for it. If it just feels more natural to have like a wider stance, you totally can. But we're up on the balls of the feet, and then heels drop, and we sink the butt quick. Okay, it's more upright than back. We're gonna do that in a second though. So for these first few, try to keep your chest up and sit your butt down. So that's why widening the feet might help some of you with that, but try to think of this as more of like an upright position, okay? And then we'll switch it, okay? And it'll be the same type of movement, but a different angle. So now your heels come up, and you're gonna think more about sending your butt back as your heels come down. So now you're opening up the back of the pelvis and the backs of the legs. So now it's more of a hinge. It's a quick hinge, right? So we wanna be able to get into things slow. We also wanna be able to yield and like kind of extend our tissues in more of a fast manner. Good, yep. So heels up and then butt back. Your knees still bend, but you're lengthening through the backs of the legs more. Perfect. And then we'll just stand up, pause for a moment, sweep the arms up, grow nice and tall. Fingertips can kind of kiss together above your head, and then we'll swan dive forward, arms wide, 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 wide. You can plant your palms down, step back into a high plank for a moment. See if you can hold your high plank for about 2 to 3 breaths, dragging hands and feet towards each other. And then we'll drop our knees down and find a child's pose. So go for any variation that will feel good to you right now. You can make a pillow for your forehead or keep the arms out in front. You can find total stillness or gently rock from side to side. And then when you're ready, we're gonna climb back on up. And now we're gonna stick our yoga block underneath the right hand. So yoga block is gonna go under the right hand. Left hand is just on the ground next to you. Knees are parked under the hips. You can brace your core a bit here. That's fine. Take a good exhale. Find those belly muscles. And then you're just lifting that left hand higher than the yoga block and then tapping it down. So you're pushing through the yoga block with the right hand, keeping both elbows straight. So make sure both elbows are straight here. Yep. Push all the way through. Good. Awesome. So hopefully you get connected to that right shoulder. You might feel your serratus muscle. And then from here, your left hand is down. Your toes are tucking. So we're going to keep the asymmetrical hand position. Lift the knees an inch. You're going to reach your hips up and back. You can have soft knees or straight legs, whatever you want. Inhale, exhale, knee hover. Inhale, hips up and back. Exhale, knee hover. So we're going to do 3 more. So your shoulders shift back when your hips shift back. And then as your hips come forward, your shoulders move forward over your hands. Good. Now after this one, your knees are going to come all the way to the ground. You can just slide the yoga block with your right hand and bring it underneath your right knee. So now block is under right knee. Your hands are under your shoulders. Your left knee comes up to meet your right, but it doesn't have a block. Toes stay on the ground, and you just let your left hip sink, and you hike your left hip. So if I turn like this, right? The left hip drops down, the left hip hikes up, drops down, hikes up. Now it's more of a, like the left side of your pelvis is moving towards the ground and then moving straight back towards the ceiling. It's not like an opening laterally, it's not abduction, it's pelvic shifting. So the left hip pulls back and then drops, pulls back and drops. Beautiful. And then from there, you can go ahead and step the left leg forward. Oh, and we got to take the yoga block with us. So right toes tuck, pelvis tucks a bit. So you're looking for some length through this right quad and right hip. We're going to grab the yoga block and give it a nice hug. Great. Now from here, we're going to lean over the front leg. As you do that, you drive your left knee forward a bit. And then you're going to pull the knee back and lift up towards the ceiling a bit, but not a huge stretch, just kind of going for the motion. Good. Now try to stay connected to your left heel throughout this movement. So even when your knee drives forward, try not to lose the heel connection. Good. And then on the next time that you lean forward, okay, your left knee goes forward of your ankle a bit. Your body is leaning over your left leg. And then we're just rotating to the left and to the right. Now, not a big rotation, and it's really only happening at the rib cage. So the pelvis is not moving with your rib cage. And we're loading our body weight over the left leg. So I definitely want you to feel your left leg working here. Nice job. Subtle, subtle, subtle rotation. And then we'll make our way on up. Okay, you can put this block on the ground, bring your left knee down, take your other yoga block out and ahead of you. So let's climb up on both blocks now. So then it'll make the next thing we're going to do a little bit easier hip mobility wise. So you can take the blocks a little bit wider, right? And then stick your palms on them. We're going to send the hips up and back towards our downward facing dog. Yep. And then take a moment here, walk the dog out, cuddle the feet, shake the head yes and no, look under one arm and then the other. Maybe lift and lower the heels a few times. And then you're going to bring your feet next to each other and reach your left leg up and towards the ceiling. And then we're going to do little baby mini push-ups. We've never done these, but it'll be fine. You're just going to bend your elbows any amount that you feel comfortable and then push away from your yoga blocks. If it feels really scary to do it with your leg up, you can do it with your leg on the ground. It doesn't need to be a big movement. Like it could literally be minor. If you feel really good about it, you could make it a big movement, right? But it's totally up to you. Just kind of have a little fun with it, explore something different. Different angle of a push-up. We don't usually do it like this. Wherever you are, we'll do one more. And then you're gonna step your left foot forward in between your hands. You can always use your other hand to help it. And then climb your yoga blocks up on the highest height and step your right foot in a little bit. I don't want it to be this super long runner's lunge, like bring the back leg a little closer. Okay, so from here, we're gonna do something a little bit new, but it shouldn't be too unfamiliar or crazy for anyone because it just kind of brings together a lot of things we do. So what you're gonna do is take one yoga block up to standing with you and just like come on up. Just come on up to standing. Yeah, but you have your back heel up, okay? And you're gonna have your front knee a little bit bent, okay? What we're gonna do is take the yoga block behind our head and open our elbows a bit. So I want you to think about your triceps, okay? And also pushing your hands into the block here, okay? Pushing your hands into the block. Now, make sure your feet are on a train track and not a tight rope, okay? And what you're gonna do is you're at an angle with your torso. So lean your body over your front leg a little bit. From here, you bend both knees. You decide how low you go. There's no wrong place to go, but you're leaning over your front leg, you bend both knees. Then as you stand up, you're gonna extend your block straight over your head. So we are only bending at the elbow joint, but the elbow is a fixed point. So you're bending down. As you stand up, we're doing two things at once. As you stand, you're extending your block straight ahead. So you lunge, bring the block behind your head, and then you come up. We're not changing the angle of our torso. Our torso is staying over our left leg the whole time. We're doing basically a tricep extension with a yoga block, right? So you're bending your elbows are a fixed point, and then you're extending through your elbows to reach the block above your head. So I'm hoping by now, I'm sure you feel the lower body, but maybe you start to feel your shoulders, maybe even your triceps would be cool. Let's do two more. I know we did kind of a lot, but just because they were new, in case it took anyone a second to figure it out. Nice job. And then bring it down. The arms might be a little tired. You're gonna drop your right heel down and turn into your warrior two. Nice job. Okay, I think that went well. So we'll take the yoga block back into our bear hug and we'll get into the sides of the body. So you're gonna bend the left knee. Your back foot is parallel with the back of the mat. You're gonna hug that block, and then you're gonna side bend over your left leg. Side bend over your left leg. Then do a little bit of a knee drive. So drive that left knee forward. Then you're gonna straighten your left leg, pull yourself up, and then side bend to the right a little bit. Good. So knee bend, side bend, knee drive. Find length through this left inner thigh. Straighten the leg, pull up, little side bend. Beautiful. We'll do one more. Knee bend, side bend, knee drive, straighten the leg, pull up, little side bend right. Awesome. You're gonna take the yoga block, bring it down. You're gonna bend into your left knee, lift your right heel, turn and pivot onto the ball of the foot. We're gonna bring our hands back down to the yoga blocks. We're gonna go with the highest height out in front of us. We're on the left foot, and you're gonna bring your right knee into your chest. Now you can put your yoga blocks wherever you need to make this work for you. And then I want you to not have your low back super rounded like this. So you might need to lift your sternum a bit and untuck your pelvis a bit. Okay, good. From here, we're gonna play with some calf raises. We're gonna start with the left knee straight. We're gonna do a few different variations. It's gonna light up the leg. So start with a straight left knee and start to lift and lower your left heel. And for these, I want you to think about the big toe mound. So it doesn't mean that any part of the foot lifts. You're just favoring or putting extra pressure and awareness into the inner edge of the ball of the foot, which would be the big toe mound and the second toe. And the leg is straight. And then about now, start to head into the pinky toe mound. Okay, so the heel is lifting and lowering. You're in the pinky toe mound. Now this could really light up some of your legs. So if you need a break at any point, feel free. So now we're in the pinky toe mound. Now bring the heel down, bend your left knee, go back to the big toe mound, but don't straighten the knee. So you're still doing the same heel raise, but it's with a bent knee, and then you're lifting and lowering the heel. Good. Really good. And then last one, you're going to go back to the pinky toe mound, but keep the knee bent. It's going to try to straighten is my guess. Keep it bent. Couple more. And then, yeah, I'm sure everyone's feeling that. So now bring the heel down, bring the ball of the right foot to your mat. We'll take a block with us and we'll roll on up to our gate stance. Super good job. Okay. So now we got the left leg in front, the right leg in back. Okay, we're gonna go back to our bear hug. Okay, so with the back leg, don't have it super far back, have it kind of close. Okay, and then we're gonna go straight down like an elevator into a lunge. So straight down, straight up. Okay, then we're gonna go hinging forward, butt back, lean over your front leg. And in our hinge today, we're gonna rotate to the left and rotate to the right. So the other day we did a side bend, today we'll rotate. Come back to center and then stand up. Okay, so we'll do it together. So it's straight down, just regular lunge, straight down. And then hinge, so butt back, but keep loading your body weight over your front leg. Okay, and then in this position, you just turn your rib cage a little to the left and a little to the right, but not the hips, just the rib cage, and then back to center. So you can start to move through it at your own pace if you want. I'm going kind of slow just to make sure I get all the different pieces. Straight down, hinge. So you don't want to be rounded in your low back here. Keep loading that front leg. See what you feel when you rotate. Beautiful job. Let's see if we can do one more. And so find the length through the back of that left leg. You rotate. Good. Super good job. Last thing here. You're gonna shift the body weight into, yeah, you might need to shake out that left leg. You're gonna shift the body weight into the ball of the foot. Soften the left knee a little bit. And then I want you to put your body weight into the ball of the foot. Into the ball of the foot. Good. And then we'll just pass our yoga block, kind of get the shoulders involved a bit. So you can keep it in front of you, or you can take it behind you. You can have your right toes on the ground, or you can have your right toes hovering. Okay. So just do a couple passes in each direction. You can count if you like doing it evenly, but you don't have to count either. You can just kind of go for it. Okay. Super good job. Make sure you get both directions. And then we're going to bring the right foot down, drop the chin to the chest, roll on down, take your time. We'll go hands on the ground, right foot back, drive the left leg all the way up and back, open that hip one time, should feel nice after all that. And then close the hip, turn towards the right leg, and then rock forward, and we're gonna lower all the way down onto our bellies. So if you wanna drop the knees down first, you can. If you're working on moving through a high plank, you can do that. And then we'll make the pillow for our forehead, bend knees, gently sway legs side to side. Great job. So let all that work go. Let the heart rate come down and the breath settle. Be heavy on the mat. Awesome, awesome, awesome. And then tops of the feet will come down. So we'll just start with a little bit of neck work down here. You can relax the body, and then your head lifts off your hands, maybe 2-3 inches, but your gaze is at your hands. And we'll start with looking up at the ceiling. When you do that one, feel free to move your bottom teeth in front of your top teeth and kind of extend the bottom of your jaw forward. that stretches out the front of the neck a bit. And then bring your chin to your chest. And it'll lengthen the back of the neck. Now, if you tend to have neck issues, I wouldn't necessarily do this through your full range. I would just do the motion just a little bit smaller than you feel like you could go. If you really like the feeling of like the neck stretch and it doesn't bug you, then feel free to go to like your full range. And then from there, we'll come through center. You're gonna go right ear towards right shoulder. Again, it's just in that direction. You don't even really want an ear to be able to touch the shoulder. That'd probably be like too much laxity in the neck. If you like the feeling of a stretch though, when you bring your left ear to your left shoulder, you can pull your right shoulder away from the ear and that will intensify it a bit. And then start to turn and look over one shoulder, try to see a foot, and then go the other way. And maybe notice like, does one way feel easier than the other? Or you just feel like you can get further, there's less restriction. Usually we have one direction that just feels easier. Nice job. And then we're transitioning into our Sphinx from here. We're just gonna do next step there today. We'll go right to Sphinx. So palms are flat on the ground. Your elbows are dragging back towards your hips. Now push into your palms and the meat of your forearms. So not just the elbows, but the whole forearm. And then imagine your heart was growing through your hands. And then today, okay, I want you to start to push your palms down into the ground hard and then relax it. So just start there. Where we're headed is potentially lifting our elbows, but only if that feels good in your spine, and you don't need to do that to get a lot out of this. So that's why I'm starting with just push your palms down hard. Imagine lifting the elbows or lift them a centimeter and then relax them down. If you're comfortable, you can start to lift the elbows any amount off the ground. You can lift them, like I said, a centimeter. You can lift them 2 or 3 inches, but keep your elbows in towards each other. If anything feels iffy in the low back, just don't lift your elbows that high. It will still go into your triceps and your shoulders, regardless of how high you lift your elbows. Good. Yeah, it should be pretty much lighting up triceps and shoulders, or even if you're not lifting very high. Good. And then we'll lower down, make the pillow for the forehead, and then just shimmy dance or shake those hips out. And we're gonna be doing our knee push-up to get back up. So we'll tuck the toes, bring the hands next to the shoulders, knees drive into the ground, hips lift, and then hips, rib cage and head are gonna lift flat as a board, and then just rock back to a child's pose. Now you can rock in and out of it, you can rock side to side, or you can find stillness, whatever you need, okay? And then we're gonna get into our whole other side. So we're gonna climb up on top of our yoga blocks. Make sure yours aren't going anywhere, okay? Make sure they're, glued to your mat. We got those fun down dog push-ups. Okay, so you're gonna go ahead and reach your hips up and back into your downward facing dog. Now, option to keep both feet down and keep your gaze between your ankles or at your big toes. You bend your elbows any amount and then you push up. It can literally be the most baby bend. That's totally fine. Okay, or you can make it bigger. I like my hands a little bit wider for these, so that might be a factor. If you want to do the 3-legged dog version, which I think a lot of you would be fine to do, you're going to lift your right leg behind you and then move up and down. So your forehead moves towards the ground and then it moves away from the ground. Don't be looking towards the top of your mat. Be looking more towards your big toes. Good. See how it goes? It's definitely more load on the shoulders than we're used to. That's why I'm saying a mini version is totally fine. And then you're gonna step your right foot forward in between your hands. Nice job, right? You gotta throw things like that in there sometimes. So then you can move your yoga blocks onto the highest height. Step your left foot in a bit. Definitely step it in a bit so it's not a super long lunge. Now check in with your back foot. Make sure it's facing straight ahead and your back heel is lifted. You're gonna take your block with you and just come on up to standing because we're gonna do these tricep hingy lunges again. So Your back foot is not super far back, heel is up. Okay, you're gonna take the yoga block, bend the elbows and bring the block behind the head, and then push your palms into the block, but you can open your elbows a bit, okay? And then start with soft knees and lean your body forward over your front leg. You gotta lean the body forward. From here, you keep your elbows bent. You're gonna send your knees into more of a bend and go down towards the ground. You decide how low you go. As you stand up, you extend your block straight over your head. So you bend at the elbows and then you extend at the elbows. See if you can press your palms into your yoga block. And we're doing two things at once, which is good. It's good to do, right? As we stand, we extend the elbows. As we stand, as we go down, we bend at the elbows. Torso is not changing its angle. We got one more. And then you can bring your block down, drop your right heel down. Love it. So you're gonna bend into your right knee, okay? We got a bear hug. We got warrior two position. You're side bending over your right leg, side bending, knee driving. So knee goes towards the top of the mat. Pull the knee back, then pull yourself up, side bend left. Find a stretch through the right side here. Nice, so knee bend, side bend, knee drive, knee straighten, pull up, and then side bend left. Beautiful, we do one more. Knee bend, side bend, knee drive, push through that right foot to straighten the leg, pull yourself up, and lean left. Awesome, and then come down. So you can bring your block down, you're gonna lift your back heel, turn and face the top of the mat. And so you have your blocks now on the highest height, okay? You wanna move them in front of you. So you can put them wherever you need, but definitely in front, and then shift your body weight into your right leg. Now untuck the pelvis a bit, so no rounding in the low back. We're gonna keep the right knee straight for the first few and start to lift and lower your right heel. Your body weight is in the big toe mound. Big toe mound as your right heel comes up and down. Now, when I say straight, I don't mean totally locked. So there's still like a tiny softening in the right knee, but it's still straight, okay? And then start to go into the pinky toe mound. See how that goes, just putting your awareness there. How does your body respond? Yeah, and then if things start burning, now is probably a good time, bend the right knee and go back to the big toe mound. So the idea is to keep the knee bent and lift and lower the heel. Keep the knee bent, lift and lower the heel, and then pinky toe mound. Try not to straighten the knee. You might feel different fibers, different parts of the glute or the hamstring or the calf lighting up depending on where you are in your foot. And then heel down, ball of left foot down, heel up. Yoga block comes with us. We roll up. Amazing. Okay, we're almost there. So take a second. We're gonna go with a bear hug. You're gonna go in this shortened lunge position, kind of a gate stance. So we're gonna go straight down like an elevator, straight up. Keep your knees soft, lean your body over your front leg. Try not to round your spine. Rotate right, rotate left. Back to center, and then stand up. The rotation is all in the rib cage. So you don't need to turn the hips, right? So you hinge, and then you could think of just like your yoga block, turning to the right a little, turning to the left, and then standing up. Beautiful. So we'll do one more. Awesome job. And then if you need to shake out that right leg, that's very valid. And then we're gonna shift our weight into the right leg, soften the right knee a bit, push the weight into the ball of the foot. Your left toes can be touching or hovering. And then we'll find our circles. So you can go behind you or just stay in front of you. You can count them or you can just guess. That's fine too. It doesn't really matter. We're just loading this right leg a lot, getting the shoulders a bit involved, opening the chest a bit. Nice job. Visit both directions. And then we'll plant the ball of the left foot down, drop the chin, we'll roll everything down, lose the yoga block, plant the palms, step the left leg back. You're gonna drive through your hands and reach your right leg all the way up and back. You're gonna rotate the hip out and then rotate it in and then rock forward. We'll drop our knees down and we'll get into our sit and shifts. So you can shift your hips to the left and to the right. You can keep your hands out in front of you, or you can bring them right in front of your knees if your ankles and your knees are okay with this much flexion, okay? Or you could take your hands to your heart. But the idea is that you're shifting your hips from one side to the other and getting a stretch through the side of the body. So as your hips shift to the left, you're leaning to the right. And as your hips shift to the right, you're leaning to the left, wherever your hands are. Awesome. Okay. And then we're going to come into a seat at one end of the mat, and we'll get into some rocking and rolling. So you can grab behind the legs or in front. We'll tuck the chin. And if yours tends to be clunky or bumpy, see if you can put your blanket or your towel behind you. Okay. But the idea is to try to smoothen out your roll. And just inhale back, exhale forward. Good. If you like the practice of lifting your sternum, you know you need that practice, then do that at the top. So you'll roll back and then lift the sternum at the top of the movement. Yeah. Could all probably use that, but beautiful. And then from your seat, you're just going to reach your arms forward and try to go as slow as you can and roll all the way to your back. So we're trying to stay connected to the feet, and you're making it as segmental, incremental as you can. Slow, 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 till you make your way all the way down. Let your head rock from one side to the other. Relax the neck. We'll take the yoga block and place it underneath the pelvis so you can lift your hips up. And then take a moment, let your pelvis be nice and heavy, and relax the palms somewhere on the body or down by the sides. And notice what you notice. Letting go of any tension or gripping in the pelvic floor, in the belly, in the face, the neck. And then you can bring both knees in towards you. Now, you might need to scooch forward on your block when you do that. And then pull your toes towards your knees, so flex the ankles. Now, pull your right knee towards your face as you reach your left heel towards the ground with control. And then keep pulling your right knee to your face as you pull your left knee in. Now, emphasize the left knee pulling in as the right heel moves towards the ground. It might touch, it might not, it doesn't really matter. If for some reason in your body you don't feel any stretch through the hip at all that's reaching towards the ground, you could also play with this with the block on one height higher, and then you'll most likely really feel it through that hip that's reaching. So that's an option if you don't feel like a nice stretch there and you want to. It's also not a big deal if you don't feel a huge stretch, but it does feel good. Nice job. And then we'll reach the legs up, widen the feet apart a bit, and circle the ankles slow motion ankle circles. Try not to move the hip, the knee, just circling the ankle. And we'll go in both directions. Love it. And then just gently rock from one side to the other on the back of the pelvis. Just little feel good massage. Try to notice, like, sometimes we're still unconsciously like holding tension in the front or the back of the pelvic floor. Try to relax it. So like kind of like the opposite of a Kegel. Okay. And then just go ahead, move your legs around in any way that would feel good. A little bit of a free for all. Bend, straighten, open, close, circle, lift, lower, and just draw something imaginary in space with your toes. And then we'll go ahead and bring the feet down. Slide your block out. And then find your happy baby or spinal twist or figure four, anything that would help you feel complete in your practice this morning. Kind of checking in with the body, seeing if it needs anything else. Maybe you want to circle the wrists or stretch out the face. And then as you kind of wind down your movements, you can start to settle into any comfortable shape for a final relaxation. Just a little bit of complete stillness here, letting the body get heavy and soft, letting go of any lingering unhelpful tension, sinking a little deeper into your mat, nice and heavy. We'll take a few moments of stillness. So as always, you can feel free to stay here as long as you like, especially if you're just getting into that zone and things are really feeling relaxed. Like, feel free to shut this off and keep resting. If you got to make moves, get to the next thing, then you can start with some gentle movement, wiggling fingers and toes, circling the wrists and the ankles, and then slowly transitioning into bigger movements, maybe a full body stretch or bringing the knees into the chest. And we'll roll over to one of our sides and come on into a seat. We'll come together one more time. Grow nice and tall, reach up. Yeah, reach a little further. And we'll bring the palms together and down through heart center. Bow forward in gratitude for practicing together this morning. It was so good to see everyone. Let me know if you have any questions. Nancy, if you have a sec, we can talk about the IT band stuff.
Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah. So usually, let me actually stop recording.